Okay, very good morning to you and welcome to our Thursday edition of Good Morning Anambra. How are you? Sure you had a good night rest. Just don't mind me. Okay, my name is Tijama and we'll take a break. When we'll come back, I'll tell you what we're about to do with you now. Welcome again. It is press review, and I have Usta Eze to help me look at the front pages of different newspapers today. Good morning, Osi.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Good
Happy
morning,
New Year.
Anambra. Same to you.
Okay. Now, let's see what we have coming from our website this morning. The first story there says PPCP will accelerate development. And this is coming from Soludo. Mr. Soludo visits Priest Welfare Home, Oka. And then land dispute, Omunakwa, Kindred, Ifite or Ifite, signs peace accord with Umu Usikbana, Kindred, Ahupu. Yeah, these are just the pointers of the news we have coming from our website this morning, www. That's ABS Radio TV, Oka. Yeah, Osta.
Yeah, let me talk about the land dispute issue. One of the big pluses of this particular administration is the very effective team they set up to handle communal crisis. They've been doing a great job from the word go, and you see that many communities that were in dispute before this administration took up reins of power, their disputes have been resolved, and they are doing well right now. Development is coming into their communities, and you see sister communities, neighbors that were in a rift before now, they have resolved their differences, and they, you know, where there is peace, there is bound to be development. So I give a big kudos to the Soludo government for handling the 21 communities, the 21 local governments very well with respect to disputes resolution and improving on cohabitation. And also, I want to also say well done to Mrs. Soludo for some of the humanitarian activities she's been engaged in the areas of, consciousness, dietary consciousness, good living consciousness, and then recently she paid a visit to the elderly priests, and I believe that she must have taken that message to them too. So she's doing a very good job, and I want to tell her well done. We are seeing what you're doing, and keep it up.
Okay. And then we also looked at PPCP will accelerate development. This is coming from Soludo. Already there are a lot of developments going on in the state.
No doubt.
And then we pray for it to continue.
Yeah.
And that's just what governance is all about.
Exactly.
Thank you. So let's get to the papers and see what's trending today. Daily Sun is our first paper today. Tension over Fiat plan to hike fuel price. Is the banner headline coming from the Daily Sun newspaper. With some riders there, marketers seek offshore refiner support to crush petroleum products cost. And then NLPCL denies rift with oil majors. It says no price increase. Okay. Let's believe that this time around there's no smoke. There's no fire coming under the smoke. Okay, coming generations will bear burden of Nigeria's huge indebtedness. Obasanjo wants. As stating the obvious. What else do we have coming here? Attempted coup, Nigeria grants asylum to Koroma, ex-Sierra Leonean president. And then gunmen attack Abuja suburb, Lafia supermarket, kill 4, injured 2, policemen. Too much attacks. And you keep wondering what's going on. Do we still have government, and do we still have security at all? Minimum wage, TUC urges federal government to implement agreements with labor in 2023. That story is beside the name templates of the Daily Sun. Minimum wage, TUC urges FG to implement agreements with labor in 2023. That's all we have coming from this paper. Let's look at the Punch newspaper. APC promises heavy defeat as Atiku eyes 2027 presidential bid. Just this early morning, that the one that we just had has not settled. We are talking about 2027. Is it not why we have poor governance in this nation? Atiku has wisdom, capacity, energy. Will run in 2027, says 8. PDP welcomes SVP. Others. And then APC says SVP will be defeated again. Obi will contest. Atiku should support him. Labour Party insists. No plan to hike fuel price. NNPCL assures Nigerians. These are some of the stories coming from the Punch newspaper. Federal government eyes 750,000 jobs with CAS initiative. Okay, down here, police return rescued trafficked children to Bauchi. Okay, we've seen that story. We've seen that story. Okay, another paper. The Daily Independent, please. Huge debts. Next generations of Nigerians have no option. And this is coming from Obasanjo. Down here we have Reps Speaker false criticism against constituency projects. With a rider there, it says they are addressing needs of the grassroots. Okay. Bombs kill at least 103 at Iran Memorial for slain general. At least 103. Oh gosh. Okay, government raids supermarkets in Nasarawa, kill 4 persons. Air Force okays group personnel, accident insurance policy for personnel. And Ayede Tiwa suspends local government caretaker chairman in Ondo. I don't know what is happening after the death of, I think it started playing out before the death itself. Okay. Broderick's Emerson, 1985 winning Golden Eagles coach, dies at 85. Oh, too bad. Okay. Yeah, let's get back to Sun and see what we can take home from there. Usta.
Yeah. I'd like to start with this statement made by the former president of Nigeria about the coming generation of Nigerians bearing the burden of Nigeria's huge indebtedness. Now, I'd like to actually give this perspective. Truth is, there is no country in the world that is not indebted in one way or the other. But I believe the conversation should revolve around what the money is being borrowed are used for. All right? Now, here in Nigeria, what makes Nigeria's case very peculiar is that most of the times, most of these monies we borrow, we don't even use them for the right things. We don't use them for capital projects. We don't use them to stabilize our infrastructure in order to ensure that socio-economic development is enhanced. And probably that is where the ex-president is coming from. Talking about the coming generation bearing the burden of Nigeria's huge indebtedness, well, we are not as indebted as the US, for instance, all right? And they are doing, the economy is doing fairly well. So my advice is for the present administration to look into the area of what they use this money is being borrowed for, all right? If we use them to stabilize our electricity, if we use them to ensure that our infrastructure is in order, if we use them to ensure that all the things that we need to ensure that we are more productive, we are more resourceful, and we are no longer a consuming nation, I believe that the money, the indebtedness will not be a problem, and the coming generation would actually fare better than Obasanjo is predicting. So, and then moving on to the tension over the plan to hike fuel price. Well, it's not been since towards the end of last year, we've been hearing rumors, and of course, we saw how the price of fuel kept, going up even till now. Well, I believe that the federal government has been making effort to see how they can stabilize the price of fuel and, see how they can reduce it too. And with the support that has been given to Dangote's refinery, and the anticipation that as soon as they start making petroleum products available, that the price of fuel is going to reduce greatly. There is hope in that area. With regards to the rift between the petroleum marketers and NNPC, well, NNPC is denying it, but I pray they consider the hardship, the difficulties Nigerians are experiencing this time, especially with the huge expenses that have been made by practically everybody in Nigeria, and the difficulty that is associated with the beginning of the year, and see how they can resolve whatever differences they have so that it doesn't impinge on the availability of petroleum products and their prices too.
Is there anything they're doing to make sure that they bring down the price of the petroleum at this rate that it is? Otherwise, it's affecting the economy negatively. A whole lot of things are packing up because of that. Okay, there's nothing you can do without power and energy. So they should be thinking of what to do to, remedy the current situation, not, adding, more problems to the ones already on ground.
Fact is, if all the petroleum dealers, if they are actually religious about the way they go about this thing, we won't be experiencing the bite as much as we are today. But look at what's happening. We don't have regulators of this price, all right? They will be told that the price of PMS, for instance, is a particular amount of money. But you go to petroleum stations, and then you find out they are selling way higher than the amount that is supposed to be sold. And they call it the Nigerian factor. So I don't know why we keep capitalizing on some of these things to rip off the common man, because it is the common man that still suffer for these things. So let the regulators of the petroleum prices sit up to their responsibility and start visiting these petroleum stations to find out how much they're actually selling. All right, so that we can tell things down from that angle, because we don't have. I'm not sure we'll have any form of regulation. Even there have been complaints that some of these fuel stations doctor their dispensing machines. All right. Whereby if they say they've given you like 10 liters, for instance, if you pay close attention to the quantity of fuel you were given, it might not be up to 8 liters.
It won't be up to 5 liters. Are you saying 8?
I'm just saying, because
your gauge will be showing red. You put in 10 liters, and before you get to that, from this point to another point, it's red again.
So you can imagine. So I believe that if we start plugging the hole from that angle, we will not really experience the difficulty with the hike in price as much as we are.
And there's this other
right
one
now.
that they complain about too, that some of this fuel are very light. They call it light fuel. You just inject it in the next 1 minute, it fizzles away.
Yeah,
okay, so they said that one is cheaper, so they buy those ones and then come and sell it to you at an exorbitant price at a reduced gauge too. Even when you are selling the light fuel, you still sell half liter for 1 liter at an exorbitant price. What is going to? What is happening to us? Why are we this mean? What are you doing with all this money? I kept asking. Where do you want to go with all this money? Tomorrow you will close your eyes, you won't open it again. What will happen to those money that you have killed people to make? And then you say that you're not a ritualist.
So our government is,
Okay.
that is where the government comes in, because the job of the government is to regulate some of these excesses. If the government agency that is responsible for regulating these prices and some of these anomalies sit up to their responsibility, you find out that the common man will actually not feel the brunt of the difficult times as much as they are doing right now. But as we speak, we are being ripped off by these petroleum dealers.
It's horrible. Okay, besides these 9 templates, minimum wage, TUC urges federal government to implement agreements with labor in 2023, while we're still talking about high cost of living. The agreement that TUC reached with the federal government about minimum wage or living wage or whatever they call it is still where it is. There is no increase in salary, nothing, but then everything is getting increased every day. This 1,002 you heard about, Phil, watch out what's going to happen. There's no smoke without fire, okay? And then we are still where we are, increasing our burden like they did to the people of Israel in Egypt.
It's crazy.
Why there's no hope.
Now, we say we've been imitating the Western world.
Situation.
Why is it that we don't want to imitate them in the way that they pay wages hourly? How many hours you put in, that is how you're supposed to be paid. I believe that if we re-engineer our system that way, our payment system that way, I believe people are not going to complain that much, and we're going to get more from people. But you find persons who don't go to work like as much as they are supposed to go to work, earning the same amount of money that persons who spend like almost 15 hours every day at work earn. There's no fairness in that. So I would like the body that is responsible for wages and salaries in Nigeria to look in this direction. Why don't we start paying hourly, Nigerians hourly? Because part of the reason why many Nigerians are leaving the country, part of the reason why we are experiencing this Japa pandemic presently is because people find out that if they go to some of these other places like Canada, Australia, and where have you, they are paid as much as they give. So if they give 10 hours a day, they are sure they are getting 10 hours worth of pay of salary or wage. Why can't we replicate the same thing in Nigeria if we don't want Nigerians to keep living in the country?
Okay, let's move on to Punch newspaper. Do we have any need to talk about this headline in the Punch? APC promises safe defeat as Atiku eyes 2027. I don't want the thing that will give me. You're not going to go in.
We're still in 2023. Someone is talking about 2027. But you don't even know whether you're going to live till 2027.
I don't really understand.
I don't get it.
It's not. That's nothing about governance. It's just how to acquire power and more power and more power. When you have not even settled down for governance, you are talking about the next election in 4 years. We are dying and nobody is doing anything about it. Look at the budget that came out. Look at even the speech of the president. No hope. It's a hopeless situation. And you are already talking about 4 years election. I don't think we want to talk about it.
It's really pathetic.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to another paper, if that's all, what they call it, Punch has to offer this morning. Okay, we have seen next generation of Nigerians have no option than to pay for this. Rep Speaker forced criticism against constituency projects. Of course, we saw what happened, what trended, was it 2 days ago, about constituency projects, especially that of the ex-speaker. What do you call him? Bajabi Amila, and a whole lot of things. Some people were commending him, while some were saying a different thing altogether. So what's your take on that?
Well, if you understand what was going on at the National Assembly, you find out that it's all about how much they as individuals are able to grab off our national cake, so to speak. And that is really why when criticisms came up with respect to these constituency projects, it met with a lot of backlash. Truth of the matter is that, firstly, I don't think that we really need to duplicate the National Assembly the way we have it in Nigeria right now. We're not supposed to have the House of Representatives and then the House of Senate. And both of them are doing almost parallel duties
They're doing
for
the same
Nigerians.
thing, not almost. They're doing
Yeah,
the
so
same thing.
why can't we dissolve one? Why can't we dissolve like the House of Senate, for instance, and work with the House of Representatives? What's the essence of the duplication? If we want to cut down the cost of governance, all right? And then talking about constituency projects, why can't the ministries, why can't these projects be channeled to ministries, particularly ministries that are responsible for particular projects, so that accountability can be easy? Because what you find out in the Nigerian situation is that when some of these constituency projects are assigned, some people, I even hear that some members of the House, they sell off some of these projects to their colleagues for a particular amount of money, and then their colleagues now go on to do whatever they wish with it. These are some of the things that are happening in Nigeria, and which is why we have so many leakages in our national coffers, and we're not able to do much with all the resources that we've been blessed with in Nigeria. So let those in charge, especially those of them who really want to leave good legacy, like our dear president, start looking in these areas. Why can't we start changing the way things are, all right, to cut down the cost of governance and to minimize the rate at which the monies that are meant for the good of the common man are entering into private pockets?
Okay, let's move on. Let's look at some other papers we have here. This day newspaper is a next paper. Federal government orders immediate implementation of 50% automatic deduction from agencies, IGR. Okay, and the writers here are not very clear. We can possibly see them. Okay, and then below the name templates, we have the story. Koroma arrives Nigeria today for political asylum after electoral and faith queue. We have seen this story before, so when we come back, we're going to talk about it. The Nation newspaper is our next paper. Federal government freezes 30 billion NCPA cash traced to private accounts. Okay, I think we saw that story yesterday. And then the writers say, anti-graft body grills coordinator arrests SDFA. As Humanitarian Affairs Minister fails to honor agency's invitation, impunity everywhere you go. You invite them, they will not come, and then they expect you to come when they do. Abbas, lawmakers won't drop constituency projects. Nobody is asking you, you're on your own. They connect government to people at grassroots. I've not seen one in my village. Okay, the Guardian newspaper, fresh concerns for public access as repairs cost over 132 billion naira yearly. Okay, let's take it from the, okay, vandalism, fresh concerns for public access as repairs cost over 132 billion naira yearly. As Minister Spons summons as EFCC arrest NISPA exports. Okay, Atiku to lead opposition alliance against Tinubu ahead 2027 election. You won't give me depression this morning. NNPC denies increment of petrol price to 1,200. Boko Haram terrorists killed 12 residents in Chibok while the gladiators are getting ready for 2027 election. Insecurity is persisting in the country. Nobody is talking about that one. People are dying on a daily basis. Nobody cares. What is important to them is how to grab or hold on to power. It's okay. You have not met expectations. You've not met expectations. TUC tells Tinubu list demands. Okay, all these are coming from Guardian newspaper. Daily Post is our next paper. Robbers kill 4 in shopping mall near Abuja. We've seen that story and we wonder why such thing will be happening, and the people that are leading us are gearing up for election 2027. Nobody has said anything about all these killings. Chief Imam, Okada rider, killed in Fresh Plateau attacks. We are getting ready for 2027 election, so everybody can die after all. They don't depend on your votes. 35 billion naira fraud, EFCC must Sodia's arrest for shunning interrogators. Okay, My successors plunged Nigeria into debt burden. Obasanjo is saying this. My successors plunged Nigeria into debt burden. Okay, what do we still have coming from this paper? Kano government, 44 local governments lock horns over funds for capital projects. NJC budget increased to 341.63 billion naira from 165 billion naira. Okay, scratch my back, I scratch your back. Okay, at least we saw the role they played during the election. Under government suspends local government caretaker chairman. Okay, fears over new petrol price hike. And then marketers plot 1,200 naira per liter. No need to panic, NNPCL. We are watching. Okay. Tribune, it's going to be our last paper this morning. Nigerian Tribune, 2024 budget designed to take care of ruling class. TUC is saying that 2024 budget is designed to take care of the ruling class while we keep complaining and complaining and complaining. Once inflation crashed from 28.20% to 9.4%, demands implementation of all agreements with the government. Insists 2023 was year of lost opportunities, dashed hopes. Okay, other stories coming from the Nigerian Tribune. With license, Nigerians can bear arms. This is coming from Falana. Nigerians as students breaks Guinness World Record with 100-hour painting. Wow. Fuel subsidy entirely removed, not reduced. NNPCL, we saw this yesterday. Yesterday they were talking about fuel subsidy, that it was a partial removal, and now they say it is entirely removed just a day after. It says no plan to increase petrol pump price. Okay, Surplus Energy announces annual gas plant mechanical completion. And down here, under government suspends local government, their chairman. Now for wait bury on a governor before you start, turning down everything that he put in place. Okay, Oster.
Yeah, let me start with the issue of vandalism of public assets. This has been a norm over the years. Someone once said, on a light note, that Nigeria is a crime scene where everybody is a suspect. So you find out that because of the way the system has been structured, it makes it that you encounter a lot of people don't care about public assets, and people vandalize public assets at will. And of course, persons who are responsible for setting up these infrastructure, they also pad up their budgets and make a lot of money from setting up some of this infrastructure. And then if you look at the quality of the infrastructure they set up, you find out they even fall below standard. So I heard that the second Niger Bridge, not long after it was opened, has been vandalized a couple of times. So it just, and then people were saying those who vandalized the second Niger Bridge, and those people are engaged in vandalizing public assets, they are heartless and all whatnot. But if you look at it, what kind of welfare system did you set up for the youths of today? All right, many youths are underemployed, many youths are unemployed, and they are roaming the streets. Many youths don't have any skill that can earn them a living. Those ones who have a skill that can earn them a living are not earning enough to take care of the bills. All right, how can you tell me that somebody is being paid 30,000 naira a month, and then if you break down 30,000 a month, it's not even up to the meal the person takes in a day? How do you expect the person to survive? We're still talking about minimum wage in a country where members of the National Assembly are collecting millions of naira every month, all right, for sitting less than 5 times in a month. Where's the fairness in that? All right. So while we are talking about how to curb the rate at which the public assets are being vandalized, let's also look at the welfare system in Nigeria, how these youths are being positively engaged. All right, I like what the state governor is doing in recent times. That's Governor of Anambra State, trying to ensure that as many youths as possible in Nigeria who are willing get at least 2 skills, all right, that can earn them a living. That's a good way to start. And I look forward to other state governors, copying this blueprint from our professor. All right, let's start engaging them positively. Look at the kind of video skits that they show on the television, on the social media these days, where Yahoo, that's internet fraud, is being glorified as a good way of making money. All right, look at the way betting outfits are making a huge amount of money from our youths, because they don't know any better. You have not given them any better way to earn a living for themselves, and that is why they desperately reach out to some of these nefarious ways to make the money, and you still blame them for seeking to survive. All right, I'm even surprised that we've not started experiencing as much violence as people experience in some other countries, some other societies where things are this awful. All right, and where the government turn this blind eye to the suffering of the people. So the government really needs to sit up to their responsibility. I keep saying this. The government needs to think of cutting down the cost of governance. The government needs to start thinking of the welfare of the common man, because we make up the bulk of the society. And you cannot say you're comfortable and you're enjoying yourself when the people who are around you are really suffering. You're also at risk. Little wonder they pay security men to surround them every time, because they know that they cannot walk about freely with the way they've set the society to be. So if you want to walk about freely, if you really want to enjoy your riches, why don't you make these basic things available to the people? Why don't you cut down the cost of governance? Why don't you attend to the demands of TUC? The demands of TUC, believe you me, if we cut off the House of Senate or even the House of Representatives completely and channel all the monies that are being put into maintaining them, right, into the needs of the TUC, believe you me, it won't take up to a month and that will be resolved. Okay? If we place members of the Senate, if we place the president down to the ward councillors on minimum wage, just as they want it to be, all right, if you place everybody on minimum wage, believe you me, the excess money that we're going to get from this will be enough to ensure that we have the best medical system in Nigeria. So these things are not rocket science. It's just that certain individuals believe that they need to be earning so much money. Look at, I actually heard from the grapevine that members of the House of Assembly, State House of Assembly, are the ones who are buying off a lot of properties all over the state, because they have so much money in their hands to buy properties. Meanwhile, the states they live in, more than 70% of people living in the state cannot afford 3 square meals in a day.
Cannot even afford to.
We don't have steady power supply.
To rent a room.
You can imagine. Many of the uncompleted buildings in Oka, Anambra State capital, are being occupied by human beings
public servants.
Public servants even. So why should it be so? And you say you want our society to move forward. So we need to start balancing some of these equations if we really want things to get better. If not, we'll keep experiencing all these forms of vandalism. The government's efforts will keep being frustrated because the efforts are not sincere. People will know when you're being sincere. Go over to, my friend who just moved over to Canada told me that he was pressed, he needed to ease himself, and because of the way everyone was so organized, he couldn't bring himself to go to one corner and ease himself like we do freely here in Nigeria. Why? Because everything is set the way it should be. And the same thing can happen down here if we start putting things in order the way, the way they are meant to. If you start being really sincere, instead of just, giving crumbs to the common man while you live in affluence and you expect things to work, it can't work that way.
Churning out policies to stifle them. It's a very horrible situation. Let's look at this Kuruma case. Kuruma that plotted the coup in Sierra Leone and failed, and Nigeria is now harboring him, and then also fighting those of them that plotted the coup and succeeded.
Well,
so
the part about
what is the morality there?
the part The part about, well, Nigeria, incidentally, is the chairman, our president is the chairman of the African Union, so which makes it that he's the one who is at the helm of affairs on decisions that are made by the African Union. But that's, well, the part about harboring the suspect of the failed coup, that has always been the role of Nigeria. Nigeria has always played the role of a big brother to other African countries over the years, and we've harbored most of the known names of, that sought asylum, even up to Idi Amin of Uganda. At some point, we even harbored him. Okay, that has been our role, but it doesn't really reduce it actually goes to show that we are the big brother of Africa. But the part about fighting the persons who plotted the coup, and some of the policies that are being made against persons who set up interim governments like we have in Niger Republic and some other countries, I don't really see that as being in the best interest of Africans. I believe that it's just playing to the gallery of our colonial masters who still want to call the shots in Africa. And it shouldn't be so. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should understand that a lot depends on decisions that he makes right now with respect to some of these countries who are seeking to be self-realized. All right? He needs to allow them to realize themselves. I have somebody who lives in Niger Republic who told me that because of some of these blockades, some of these sanctions that have been made against Niger Republic, that the economy has been stifled and nothing moves. But at the same time, he told me that because they banned importation of rice from Nigeria to Niger Republic, because Nigeria, he said that it was Nigeria that used to supply them rice, that right now Niger Republic is now self-sustainable in the sense that they now produce enough rice to take care of their citizens. Same goes for electricity. We used to be the ones that were providing electricity to them, and we stopped giving them electricity. Right now, Niger Republic has set up dams, and they have constant power supply right now.
Look at that.
So that's to show you that we are not even doing these people any bad by preventing things from coming.
We're helping them to stand
on their feet and realize the potential that they really have. So let's Tinubu start thinking in the direction of leaving good policy, a good legacy for himself. I keep repeating this because it's very essential. He has achieved everything he wants to achieve in life. Why continue playing to the gallery for all these colonial masters who don't want any good from Africa? They have extreme weather conditions over there. They don't have enough resources to take care of themselves, and that is why they want us to remain in crisis so that they will continue to rip us off of our resources. And we shouldn't continue to allow this. And I believe that's what some of these countries who are going into queues are seeking for. Let's really help them achieve, this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's finally look at this story before we go. What CBN is doing with the cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And then issuing new threats or new guidelines on that.
Yeah, that's part of the job of the CBN, to ensure that people don't run into problems in the monetary system. And cryptocurrency has continued to raise the eyebrow of economic experts across the globe, and that's probably why the government at some point made some restrictions on how one can gain access to it. But so far, because of some of these government regulations, people have been more responsible in the way they attend to the cryptocurrency, because trust me, so many persons have capitalized on people's interest in cryptocurrency to defraud people. They will say they've launched a coin, a particular crypto coin, and then that people should invest in it, and then you won't know that it's just a fraudulent act, and they don't intend to sustain that cryptocurrency. And within a short while after they've seen a lot of money move into it, they will crash, they will close down, and people will lose a lot of money. A lot of people have lost money run into multiple millions as a result of depending on all the high hopes that the cryptocurrency world give them. So yes, the government needs to regulate it, but at the same time, they should not stifle the potential that cryptocurrency has in improving the monetary system in Nigeria. We've been so dependent on the dollar in this country, and it is really is almost choking us to death, choking our economy to death, and it shouldn't be so. And if cryptocurrency is going to be a way out, let's allow it. We've been talking about the e-naira. All right, the past administration made some effort in the direction of e-naira, but these days we don't even hear much. It's only whispers we are hearing of the e-naira. Why should it be so? Why can't we invest more in that direction so that our naira can be more relieved, be freer to function? Because right now, our naira is more like tissue paper. It has practically no value, and it should not be so. So the government should look in the direction of cryptocurrency. While they are trying to regulate excesses in that direction, they should also allow cryptocurrency to thrive, all right, and for people to deal on it responsibly. And the e-naira really needs to be fanned up because it might be the way out for the naira.
Okay, thank you very much, Ostar Eze. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Ostar Eze, a public affairs analyst that has joined us to look at the pages of newspaper today. Thank you. And for those of you that watch from home, thank you very much. Tomorrow is Friday. We'll continue with Good Morning Anambra. My name is Ijoma Uche. God bless you.